Okay, Tyler, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Just thinking about yourself and how you might be right now. You've been playing virtually non-stop through 2025 with both Bournemouth and the US men's national team. How are you feeling right now? How are you physically and mentally?
Yeah, feel great. I think after Gold Cup, it was nice to just kind of disconnect for what was it, 2 or 3 weeks before meeting back up with the team in Chicago. And it was also nice to kind of stay stateside for preseason. So it wasn't a lot of traveling. It wasn't like some of these clubs that do obviously like the Asia tours and all this. So to be fair, it's been pretty low key. And then obviously when you're back in the UK, it's quite easy traveling. So it's only really the national team.
Hi, Tyler. You and Earle joined Bournemouth in 2023, that summer. Give us your first impressions of the manager and how your relationships maybe evolved over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think from the moment I talked to him on the phone, obviously before I joined Bournemouth, you could see he's very passionate, very detail oriented in the way that he approaches the game, and I thought it was someone that was going to be able to push me and kind of help me develop. And I think it's funny because whenever I describe him to people as a coach, I tell them, I'm like, he's not a manager that will be on you 24/7. He wants to let you kind of be free and grow. He's going to critique you in certain ways, but he's never going to be the manager that says, what are you doing in this situation? He's an educator at the end of the day, and he wants you to learn and kind of understand why he's thinking about the game in a certain way. So yeah, I think the belief that he instills in the team, the clarity in the roles that you have, nothing is overcomplicated. It's pretty straightforward. So I think he's evolved obviously amazingly as a manager, and he just creates a sense of belief in the team.
Tyler, both me and Robbie Earle were midfield players, central midfield players, long time ago now. Just interested in, I guess I got a couple of questions about your midfield game. Like, first off, how do you kind of work on your own game? Like with the coaches, with yourself? Do you look at videos? How do you try and improve yourself as a midfield player?
It's funny. I literally just left the analyst room, constantly just watching clips and breaking down what were you thinking in this situation? Why were you thinking in this certain situation? What's the habits that you sort of need to break, or the habits you need to create? Checking your shoulder, the awareness, the spatial awareness of the players you're playing with. All these kinds of things. I think a lot of it comes down to in football at the end of the day, to the relationships with the players you have on your team and the players that you have that help balance your game out. And for me, thankfully, I'm able to play with some amazing midfielders. And I think we've found a good balance. But for me personally, I'm my biggest critic. I know right away what I should have done in a certain situation, if I did it right or I did it wrong. And some of that comes down to tactics, but also it just comes down to habits, the way that you train every single day. And I try to practice what I preach and do it every single day in training.
Tyler, do you feel like the role in the team right now, I mean, whether you're with Alex Scott or whoever you're with, you're kind of the sitting guy. Is there something in you that's more attacking? Do you have that kind of desire to do that? Or are you very happy in the role that you have right now?
Yeah, I'm happy in the role that I have right now, but I think it's something that I want to continue to add to my game. But I do also understand that with certain players that I play with, they obviously have that knack sometimes for getting forward a little bit more often, and there does have to be that balance. It can't be, me watching Alex Scott or Ryan Christie, who like to be that creator, connector going forward, and me thinking, okay, it's my opportunity to dart in the box and try and get on the end of a ball. So, for me, it's about, understanding your role, what you're good at first and foremost, and when you have that opportunity, how can you take it and capitalize on it?
You lost some really big names during the summer, yet the squad doesn't look any weaker. Kind of, how's that happened? And who are the guys who've really stepped up? Obviously, including you.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me how good our team would have been when you lose players to Real Madrid, PSG, and Liverpool, I would have said I'm not quite sure yet. Let's see how it goes. But the guys that have stepped in have done unbelievable. You look at, and we signed Bafode Diakite, and he comes in the day before the Liverpool game, and he plays against Liverpool, and like, what a test that was. He played unbelievable, and of course you're playing the reigning champions. It's very difficult, but after that you could just see he understands the system so quickly. And I give credit to the coaching staff, because they make the game so simplistic for everybody to come in and translate the game really well, and how you can have success right away. And Adrien Truffert came in, the left back, and you wouldn't have even noticed that we lost a player to Liverpool. And all the signings that have come in have done really well, but on top of that, Antoine Semenyo takes another step forward in his game, and he's obviously continuing to produce. Evan Nielsen, who for me goes under the radar every single game. Like the way that this guy holds the ball up against, unbelievable players, and he's a creator for us. We have guys like Justin Kluivert, who's not even fully back in the mix yet, and we're bringing guys like him off the bench right now. So the depth of our squad has grown as well, and when you can rely on certain players to have an impact, your team is going to get better.
Tyler, you've captained the national team and always one of the most vocal players when we watch you play. Where does that come from, your leadership skills? Something you work on? Is there somebody influenced you in your career with that?
My mom talks a lot, so I would say definitely from my mom, but also just the leaders that I've been around in my career. In MLS at a young age, I was very fortunate to have good leaders, and someone I really relied on at a young age was Bradley Wright Phillips, and you speak to him as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, and the players that he's played with, the families that he's from. You're talking to someone who understands the game. So when he says something, you listen. And it wasn't always what the hell are you doing, Tyler? It was in this situation, pull away to create more space for yourself. You might find it a little bit easier if you take a bad touch to get out of it. Just little things like that as a 16-year-old, I was ready to absorb the information and criticism from any player, and that helped me in my career. And then I think, going to Germany at a young age, being in an environment where, I wasn't always comfortable and really just outside my comfort zone, having to speak a different language and learn from different guys, it really tests you at a young age. And I think that, it helped me build this resilience, and I'm not really afraid to step on anyone's toes.
Just talking about the national team, Tyler, it's been a bit of an up and down period. What's the state of the national team 9 months out from a World Cup starting?
I mean, I think, in all honesty, if you ask me, of course, you want to be in a better position than I think that we're in right now. Like you said, I think there's been a lot of ups and downs, but I think the turbulent process is granted. You have a new manager come in, he's trying to, explain his philosophies and get his philosophies across in a short period of time. And these 10 days periods, it's really difficult. And then when I look at this Gold Cup period that we just had, I feel like that was the most progress that we've made in a really long time, because we had 40 days together throughout the summer where guys are just battling. We're having real training sessions. You're having games where there's this pressure of are you going to get knocked out? How do you progress? You have to go to penalties. How do you deal with that pressure? These sort of challenges that I think helped us grow a lot. And, even going into last camp, we lose to South Korea, but we bounce back against Japan. I think you can start to see the mentality grow within the team and the confidence of what we're doing. So I think we're making progress now, and I think that the upcoming camps are going to be important for us.
Just thinking ahead, Tyler, to the World Cup, what needs to happen or what outcomes need to happen in that tournament that you can walk away with your head held high, feeling really good about what you and the team have done in that tournament?
Yeah, it's so hard to put a marker on it of what's deemed success. Obviously, you have to kind of use Qatar as a benchmark, and we made it out of the group and we lost. So how can you take another step forward in a pressure situation? And I think we managed ourselves really well without getting out of that group for it being our first World Cup and a lot of guys' first experience in a knockout stage. So we need to continue to develop in order to beat some of the big boys, and I think that's the hardest part about the national team is you don't always have the opportunity to play against a lot of the big teams. So when we came up against Holland coming out of the group, were we 100% prepared for it? No, we gave everything we had, but we came down swinging. So I think now in this next World Cup, it's how do you, when you have to face a Germany, when you have to face a Holland, how do you, it's an upset in that situation. We're always going to be the underdogs in that situation, but how do you, create those advantages and win a game like that?
I understand you're a bit of a golfer.
My dad's a golfer. My brothers are golfers. I've got to spend some time with Scotty Scheffler before and
Wow.
And watch him up close at the Travelers Championship with PGA. So I follow it closely. I love it. It's just, for me, it's the detail of something, making a swing over and over again and perfecting your craft. And
It's hard, isn't it?
yeah, it seems so difficult, and I don't feel like I'm ever getting any better. But that's the joy of it.
Last one, Tyler. Just like we have a laugh living in America, of course we're in the US now. What's some of your kind of your likes and your dislikes about living in England?
My favorite thing is Sunday roasts. I'll be going for a Sunday roast every weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I think England is in a lot of ways very similar to to the US, which is nice. Like after living in Germany, I come to England and it's like a breath of fresh air, just how outgoing the people are, the banter, all those kinds of things. But I don't know, for me, it's just, growing up in a place like New York where, everything is about, sports and culture and a lot of these things, coming to the UK and just having it be about football, which I love, is a breath of fresh air. Everyone speaks the language of football and it's very relatable for me. So I love it.
Listen, Tyler, we thank you for your time spending that with us. Good luck for the rest of the season and obviously for the World Cup 2026.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.